All I can hope for at the moment is that I'm actually gonna be able to connect into the game at all.
Perfect world is really not much. It's everything
Because
but
if you're
perfect.
like on the American continent,
Hmm.
it's a little bit better for you maybe, but I'm in it now, so hopefully it's gonna be fine. But Elder Titan to pick for DK, whereas Braveheart get their hands on the Ogre Magi, I believe. DK were the ones
Yeah.
building the Ogre Magi first game, right?
Yeah, CTY under control of the Ogre. They're going to deny that up. They're also going to pick up the Jakiro. Not the hell sure why my announcers all of a sudden are on again, but going to get that off. And they pick up a strong 1-2 here for the side of Team Braveheart. So that's very nice for them. And they could run the Jakiro in a core role as well. Up against the Elder Titan will be a battle of Yule's Scepters here. So Naga Siren going to be picked up to couple with the Elder Titan thus far for DK.
I mean, just Naga Siren is one of probably the more annoying heroes to deal with. I mean, Nature's Prophet as a split pusher is also rather annoying, but I don't think Nature's Prophet can be compared to a Naga Siren just because at least Nature's Prophet is easier to gank. You just need some lockdown, some silences to prevent him from TPing out, whereas Naga just pops the song and TPs out anyway.
Right.
You have like a BKB, but you probably won't preemptively BKB and something like that, so if this Naga gets the Radiance within a decent timing, Team Braveheart, I mean, I guess they have to make the choice now whether to actually go commit into the super late phase or just end the game before Naga Siren becomes a threat.
Yeah, they did first ban out that Tide for Braveheart, and they did have a great time on Black Zad for DK last game with that. Obviously, there's a good setup there from Song of the Siren into Ravage, even though it was banned before the Naga, but they will remove that from the pool. So if Dreamy U is able to farm up on this Naga as he did on the Morphling last game, they should have a great time doing that thus far. I'm just going to reconnect to this game, so hopefully that my announcers are off, but run us through the draft for the moment.
Oh, nothing much is happening, just the second phase of bans coming out. Lion with the Ember Spirit ban by DK, Puck first ban in the second phase from Braveheart, and the second one, it's hard to say somebody, or I guess Puck was a pretty nice hero in a sense that definitely a great space creator for the Naga Siren to just farm up the Radiance. Although, I guess there's a slight chance that DK might even run it as a support, have like the Elder Titan offlane for example. It's not as likely, but every now and then, just by the end of the draft, when you see like Naga Siren maybe would get countered too hard, or just the mid lane wouldn't be too safe for her, something like that, they do sometimes switch it around. But Braveheart, depending on how they think Elder Titan is going to be laned, they might want to ban out something like a... Oh, never mind, Patrider is banned out by DK already, but a Broodmother. I guess Broodmother is a rather excellent hero in just creating space if need be.
Yeah, Broodmother has been rather annoying for quite a few teams recently in the meta, so I guess they'll just remove that up. I mean, Jakiro does deal with the Brood fairly well with the Liquid Fire, so does the Ogre with the Ignite, and even the Plasma Field to an extent can bring down those Broodlings, but either way, I guess just something they don't want to deal with. Not sure if there's something DK has run often. I know in the Eastern scene, a lot of teams seem to emulate the Tier 1 teams like Vici, and they do love to run that a lot with Ice Ice Ice, so interesting to see what they're able to do here. But either way, Clockwork is going to be picked up by Team Braveheart, and that will be what's rounding out their lineup here. So it looks like we will see for this moment perhaps a support Jakiro. Does synergize well with the Cogs with that Macro Pyre, so that should be an interesting combo. And Clockwork, not a hero I've seen all too often recently, but speaking of which, the Space Cow is going to be picked up by DK.
Looks like we have some audio issues again. This time I'm the one being quiet, or...
Yeah, I did turn it up, so hopefully... I turned you up twice as much as Hefla, so hopefully... They should be able to hear you now.
Fun times. I don't know, man. Your Skype hates calls.
It just hates
your Skype wants you to be a just permanent solo caster.
It gets jealous, I guess, when I bring you guys in. But either way, Braveheart... looking to do a little bit better than they did in game 1. They are going to pick up the Razor for themselves, deny that up from Cold Snap. And the Space Cow going to be picked up from DK, so it'll be interesting to see how they're able to utilize that. Still a lot of tankiness for Braveheart, so I don't know how much this Spirit Breaker can get done early on. It's going to need some sort of a roam hero to couple with, but they're going to pick up the Viper for the mid lane thus far. And what are your thoughts on how they've built around this Spirit Breaker thus far?
I mean, it's... First of all, it's really weird to see any kind of team starting with triple melee heroes. It's really hard to actually execute such a lineup just because you're going to be clumped up. I guess Elder Titan doesn't need to get into the thick of things that much, and Naga Siren with the proper farm doesn't either. Just send the illusions in, and that's gonna be it. But
Right.
still, just purely looking at 3 melee heroes, kind of, it feels punishable for me. I would have maybe even preferred to see Braveheart going for something like a Timbersaw, for example, instead of the Clockwork. Because what would DK have had so far? An Ensnare. Pretty much that's it. I guess you can like Nether Strike or hope for bashes of the Spirit Breaker, but
Right.
should be just easy Timber Chains away.
Yeah, he would have certainly free reign against the lineup of DK thus far, especially the Viper. And as you mentioned, only the Ensnare, which often isn't leveled up past level 1, which is only a 2-second duration because of the nature of the farming Naga, needing that max Riptide and Illusions. So Timbersaw definitely would have a great time here. They still can go for it if they run something like a throwback Clockwork or Timber mid with the Razor in the safe lane. But either way, as you mentioned, I feel like they've put their eggs in the basket here with this Clockwork pickup for the off lane. And they probably are looking for a safe laner at this point. Razor Viper mid is pretty much a wash in most matchups.
Well, how highly would you rate the chances of the Viper being mid lane, and just is it Naga Siren farming safe lane, or are we gonna see like a Spirit Breaker core with a Naga support? Although I highly doubt that's gonna happen with the kind of just heroes that they have so far.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, you definitely could see a safe lane Viper here, as you mentioned, with the Naga in the mid lane, but I'm not sure if they'll relegate Dreamy U towards that mid lane. They did have him on the Morph lane, which is another kind of flexible mid and safe lane core, and last game he played in the safe lane on the Morph lane, so perhaps still looking to posture up defensively with his 2 supports at his side, even on the Naga Siren. But either way, yeah, I feel like the Spirit Breaker is probably going to be a support, but if he runs support Elder Titan Spirit Breaker, that is pretty underwhelming and lacking a lot of lockdown. So I guess we will know by virtue of the final pick. And we did see a Rubik ban from Braveheart, so they do expect at least one of the SB or ET to be cores here, which is fairly reasonable.
Yeah, I would think the Elder Titan to be an offlane one, although Spirit Breaker every now and then finds himself in the offlane role as well. It's from the offlane, I guess it's maybe not as obvious when you're just charging away sometimes. Or, well, it depends how well the offlane is going, I guess. If the lane is under your own tower and the Spirit Breaker is nowhere in sight, you must kind of predict him to be charging at you. But DK going for his Sand King, so a 4th melee hero as well for them. I guess it's extra initiation, but Clockworks, Power Cogs, for example, will be just such an annoying tool for DK to deal with.
Yeah, certainly so, and going to be interesting to see how they fare in the lanes. I feel like they're going to get harassed out of the game on the side of DK with all these melee heroes, but they did win game 1, so at the very least, they will tie up this series. Even if they lose this game, regardless, let's introduce the teams on DK for the Dire. We see CTY picking up the Sand King. Dreamy U will rotate towards that safe lane on the Naga Siren, followed by Black Sea on the Spirit Breaker. We'll see a 5-man movement, perhaps, maybe not. Cold Snap in the mid on Viper, and XBG will play in the offlane on that Elder Titan.
As for Braveheart, their own offlaner will be God7 on the Clockwork, leaving Carrot on the middle lane Razor, with the tri-lane consisting of 91 on the Ogre Magi, with, well, Shadow Fiend being played by Chinese letters, I guess, and Move is on the Jakiro.
Certainly so, and Shadow Fiend is gonna have a ward planted in his face. Not sure he saw that. Looks like it was planted from about here from the tree line from the Elder Titan, and he is able to walk down with that Boots first build, and he'll have a little bit of information as to the positioning of these supports when they are pulling and when he can find some farm in lane. There are no sentries on move. There are a couple on 9-1, so if he gets lucky and places that down, they should be able to de-ward that. But also God7 placing up some vision of his own on the high ground here, and there is a river ward also for the Dire side.
So, well, can you explain me what's the deal with all in all like Chinese players and numbers in the names?
Not exactly sure. Either 3 letters or less, or a couple of numbers seems to be the rule of thumb. But Dreamy U is the different one, I guess, for DK here. Got XBG.
It's like for the most part they're like part of a cult or something. It's like, you can't have such a name, otherwise you're not in the club. Screw you.
There's a registry of names.
You are not getting into the treehouse.
It must be like license plates. Like, oh, we've only gotten to the 3 digits, man. You can't take 4 quite yet until we run out of 3. Static Link on to Cold Snap on the mid. Carrot gonna look to find some last hits with that. God7 pretty aggressive in this off lane. He should be fine up against a Spirit Breaker Naga Siren, and even if CTY rotates in, he's fairly tanky with that base strength on the Clockwork. 9-1 is going to right click down just an illusion here from the Sand King. XPG trying to find some farm, is going to be zoned out by Move, who has opted for level 1 Dual Breath, so interesting build from him, not going for the Liquid Fire, just trying to find a little bit more spammable harass with that 10-second cooldown as opposed to that 20-second cooldown onto the Elder Titan. But Move going to put a few right clicks into have a few right clicks put into him, I should say, from the Elder Titan, and everything pretty stagnant thus far.
Yeah, it's I guess kind of to be expected, especially from DK's side. I'm not really too sure how much they plan to accomplish with the Spirit Breaker. Early on, they go for the Greater Bash, so I guess really wants to harass Clockwork as much as he possibly can. But being in a triple melee just tri-lane like this up against Power Cogs, what are the chances of them actually killing off the Clockwork? Unless the Clockwork like really goes in too aggressively.
Yeah, he has to make a major misstep here, presumably to die. And he does even have that Battery Assault to help him back off. As you mentioned, they're 3 melee heroes, so they need to chase him down to right-click him down. He's going to find his level 2 here a little bit quicker. XBG is going to find it, though, on the ET. So he's doing well. Both offlaners doing fairly well at this point, however. Both safe laners farming as well. And with the Shadow Fiend and the Naga Siren, they're not going to have too much kill potential early on. So we should see some Chinese Dota early on. Lots of efficiency in farming up until somewhere around that 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I would hope that at least Braveheart with the Ogre Magi and Jakiro will try to roam around a little bit more. Just get anything done. Of course, so far, if you look at the mid lane, 9-2 on the Razor up against the 6-3 Cold Snaps Viper. So I guess Razor kind of expected to have a slight upper hand there. Maybe not completely own the lane or anything. Right. Every now and then, even Vipers tend to win the lane instead. But it's just so hard to play against Static Link. It really is.
It is, especially for a hero like Viper, who does have range, but he doesn't have the greatest base move speed, only 335 with those boots in tow. And XPG actually rotates pretty far back to block up his wave here. He does have information on Move's position, or at least recent position, with that Deep Observer Ward he planted. And now we'll see him rotate into the lane. God7 finding quite a bit of farm. His level 3 about to be achieved here underneath the tower. And he now does have probably what will be the full utility build 1-1-1 thus far, but we'll see what he opts to skill with this skill point. Either way, 18-9 on the Shadow Fiend, 14-4 on Dreamy U's Naga Siren, so more or less even there as Dreamy U brings a wave underneath his tower. And we will see a wrap bottom lane from 9-1 on the Ogre.
Yeah, the first smoke of the game comes out. I mean, theoretically you would think it's an easy kill with a few Shadow Races connected, but the XPC just starts backing off in time and now runs into the trees. It's gonna be a huge dive. No TPs for the assistants though coming out yet. He's still alive, XPG, but he's gonna be found out. A few Shadow Races and that's gonna be the first blood.
Yeah, Move gonna pick that up. He's ticking down. And they will be able to put quite a lot of harass into this tower if a wave comes in soon. But it looks like this siege creep will go down. And they'll have to salve up on Move's Jakiro. Either way, no aggression elsewhere on the map. DK not looking to find a return kill. CTY does rotate towards the rune. We'll find a bounty rune top. And Bottle not coming out for either the Razor or the Viper at this point. Aquila picked up for Carrot.
Well, Carrot in some trouble, never mind. Not gonna be chased out. Maybe if Viper had level 6, then just Viper Strike into Burrow Strike, something like that. But what's the stack situation at the moment? There's only one double stack in the big camp, and that's about it for the Sand King. Of course, it's only 4.5 minutes in, so I guess it's not that big of a deal quite yet.
They did have a couple stacks towards the lane in this large camp, but they were pulled towards by both God7 and the supports from DK, and those were brought down. So yeah, SK is going to have a small recovery mechanic. He will rotate over now for CTY to stack this up a third time, but either way, things are pretty stagnant. Take a look at the gold and the XP. Pretty much equilibrium for both sides, and the CS chart does more or less tell the story at this point. God, however, has found his level 4 and is a bit ahead of XBG, who is almost there after dying the one time in bot lane.
I mean, even though he died, still level-wise, I mean, not the greatest, but being level 4 for an offlaner, not too shabby. Of course, Clockwork slightly ahead, but another Ignite. There's the Fire Blast as well coming out. Ice Path, not even skilled, but the dual breath connects. Beautiful body blocking. And well, that's just another kill for them.
Yeah, so a lot more kill potential with the Jakiro Ogre, as you mentioned, than there is with this Spirit Breaker Sand King combo and the double melee supports for DK. Not sure if they intended to do something else with this Spirit Breaker, and a couple of the picks from Braveheart dissuaded them from putting him in a core role, and he ended up in the support role because I guess you don't really plan to have a Sand King Spirit Breaker most times. But XPG going down for that second time will also find his level 4 despite dying. And Elder Titan's certainly a hero that really does benefit well from levels, more so than farm. Farm is nice on him. You can pick up a Yule Scepter, a mech, a pipe, things of those nature, but never really super necessary as much as is the max natural order and spirit and a couple value points in that Echo Stomp.
Oh, I'm just trying to reconnect because it was getting worse and worse. It started off fine, then more into a slideshow kind of style, but I mean, at this point, usually when you pick a Spirit Breaker, you actually want to go for some aggression. As Carrot, mid lane, never mind. Fire Blast stops Cold Snap for a second, but the Viper Strike damage is enough. And can you get the Ogre as well? Maybe so with the poison attacks. The charge is coming with the Burrow Strike as well. So DK, they just kind of strike back. A charge is still coming, but I don't think they're gonna get close enough for it.
Yeah, and Move didn't have any mana, but Black, not level 6, doesn't have that Nether Strike or Nether Bash, so he's not going to be able to take him back towards his teammates. And Cold Snap very low there, a little bit worried about TP rotations, but still a nice kill. 2-2 is your score, 7 minutes into the game, and smart play by Cold Snap to back off there, knowing that the Burrow Strike and the charge were coming in, not risking his own life, and does tick down that Razor a little bit earlier on, but we'll have to rotate back to base presumably here. As he is fairly low.
Just look at Black Sea, doesn't even have boots of speed. It's 7.5 minutes in. He doesn't have a single last hit, so even though they were pulling through, he probably just didn't manage to last it. First of all, Sand King I think took them earlier on.
Right.
But Sand King hasn't been there the entire time, so Spirit Breaker just maybe missing on a few opportunities, and Spirit Breaker usually is picked for just straight off aggression. Get like a level 2 so you will have 1 point into charge, 1 into the Greater Bash, and just start roaming around. But I just don't feel like this kind of playstyle for a Spirit Breaker is why you should pick him.
Right.
But at least they have the Blink Dagger on CTY, and that's an extremely early one.
Something definitely noteworthy there. Sub 8-minute Blink Dagger very quickly farmed on CTY. There was a quickly farmed Blink Dagger for Braveheart in game 1, but there will be a Blink Burrow here, and it's actually going to whiff before the charge. Black Sea still running in, but they won't have the kill potential here on Carrot with only these two, and CTY will reveal his Blink Dagger there. However, as you mentioned, still very early and should cue some aggression along with that Spirit Breaker, so perhaps they'll finally be able to make this pick work out with the newly acclaimed aggression from that Sand King.
Well, to be fair, I don't think there would have been a kill even had the Burrow Strike landed there.
Right.
It's just the support. They don't have enough damage output at this point in time. I mean, Spirit Breaker comes close, probably gets static linked immediately by the Razor, and nothing else will most likely happen. But, whoa, one thing. Ice Path, never mind. They're going to get XPG again. So that's another death for the Elder Titan. He's almost level 6, but Braveheart, they're getting more aggressive. But Shadowfiend, he's going for a mech. That's, I want to say, kind of the first time I've seen this build.
Mushi does this a lot, so as I mentioned in the eastern scene, a lot of teams try to mimic the tier 1 players, and so that's actually fairly popular in China, but I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it. It does give you quite a bit of armor on the SF, and you do get the damage from the soul collection there, so interesting pickup. Will allow them to fight early and continue to push down some of these towers, but I guess they expect this Viper to mill the mech early, and Cold Snap is doing that in the mid as he does get static linked up here, so I guess just kind of an arms race there, and with some good farm, 2-0-1 on the Shadow Fiend already. 5k net worth, 1,000 ahead of the Naga. They do pick up an early mech. Boots of Travel, though, picked up about simultaneously for Dreamy U here.
Well, I mean, Boots of Travel would be nice for sure, but is it worth just wasting about 2,000 gold, which could have been put towards that Radiant, especially since absolute free farm on the safe lane so far. Nothing has tried to gank her even once, so maybe just the rush would have been fine, but now Shadowfiend is in trouble. The charge comes in, CTY will connect with the burst, like even Epicenter being channeled, but oh, the Ice Path so damn clutch, and with the mech being there, they're turning things around. No Sandstorm to just get the escape, and they even get the just double kill, or well, 2 kills rather.
Yep, and they will be able to continue to push this down with the Liquid Fire. Actually is not max. Very interesting build from Move. 2-2-2 thus far. Full utility for him. So they do still have quite a big cooldown in 15 seconds on this Liquid Fire, but they should be able to put a lot of chip damage into this tower, if not bring it down. Cold Snap not willing to rotate over quite yet, is just below the Razor on net worth. Carrot hasn't been involved either though, and the Razor farming fairly well in the mid lane. Has Bracer, Aquila, and almost his treads up as well, and is going to rotate over now, finally find this illusion bot and perhaps regroup with his team for this tier 2 push.
Well, I mean, they will probably get the tier 2 down, but they are committing 5 heroes for it. They're still just leaving the Naga Siren to farm. Well, of course, since Naga Siren isn't rushing the Radiance, it still might be fine, and I mean, even if the Naga Siren isn't just disturbed for like the next 10 minutes, what do you think the timing for the Radiance will be now that you went for the travels first?
Yeah, it's a very interesting decision. I don't see it coming out really. I mean, best case scenario, probably something like 24 minutes, and that's not really going to be super effective. But first, be into a complete free farming Shadow Fiend right now that already has a mech and his Ogre Axe up, in addition to the treads and Aquila with 750 gold. So this BKB going to come out fairly soon. And once that BKB comes out with the mech as well, not too worried about the Radiance as the Shadow Fiend. They'll also have the Clockwork to deal with the Naga, and through that BKB they may be able to isolate the Shadow Fiend. But yeah, I would have agreed with you. With complete free farm, you probably rush the Relic here, and spending 2400 on that. Actually, Jakiro going down in the mid lane. In the meantime, Carrot being aggressed on, but spending 2400 on that recipe there. Could have already had the Relic roughly with the gold in the bank.
Yeah, it's, I mean, like 2k for the recipe. I guess it's not too bad, but it's still so much closer to the Relic. Would have been like a 13-14 minute Relic, which is pretty damn excellent for you. Especially since they are just putting quite a lot of harassment on the tier 1 as well, so you can expect DreamyU to probably get the tier 1 tower down for himself, just get the last hit as well. But there is a smoke from Black Sea as well as CTY now. They're on the hunt for something. Can they even find it with the two of them? In the meantime, Cold Snap, he's gonna be caught upon, maybe. 91 is around as well on the Ogre.
Yeah, he does have the mechanism up, so perhaps a little bit worried about people waiting in the tree line there. And they will see 9-1 scout out the jungle. He is going to flank and wrap around. There are TPs in here from the Elder Titan. XPG not caught out with the Ice Path, but there will be a Fire Blast and the Ignite from the backlines from 9-1. 9-1 going to turn tail and run now. He's being charged up by the Spirit Breaker. Viper Strike is going to hit him as well, but here comes the Requiem of Souls from the Shadow Fiends. Actually not going to hit anyone, and Black Sea will be the last one though. Is caught out. CTY only going to burrow on one. Eye of the Storm popped by Carrot. They are going to look to chase down Cold Snap. Liquid Fire goes out onto him. DreamyU has rotated in. Does not have Sign on the Siren, however. Mech up by Cold Snap. Riptide will be there, and they will be able to bring down the Razor. So nice 1-for-1 actually for DK. Good trade for them. Burrow Strike onto 2. And they won't have too much here. The Riptide is there from Move. Do they have the follow-up? Ensnare out onto the Shadow Fiend. Move getting really low as well. One last right click. DreamyU will bring him down. Hook up to the high ground, however, from God7. And he'll bring down DreamyU in the cover of these cogs. Meanwhile, Shadow Fiend brought down by CTY and Black Z. And a very nice engagement going the way of DK. They do end up losing their Naga Siren, but they get 2 cores and the Jakiro of Braveheart, and the charge continues. Will God7 be able to TP out in time? He will get it cancelled. And the blink forward from CTY. Burrow not quite here, but in 2 mana will be available. Really not even needed. Ancestral Spirit, one last right click from CTY. Clock going to go down as well. That's 4-for-1 mid lane for DK.
What started so well for Braveheart suddenly got turned around upon completely. First of all, Razor, he was the lowest on health, yet he was the one to just charge into the tier 2. Had the Shadow Fiend gone in with his mech, extra armor from that, pretty damn tanky against the tower. Nope, it was the Razor charging things through. Viper TP'd out with like 25 HP remaining after the Ignite took him down. It was all so close, and the escape was just horrible for them, or rather there was no escape, I have to put it like that. Also DreamyU joining the fight suddenly after 2.1k gold, even having died there. So I think it's a pretty huge win for DK probably. Also Spirit Breaker suddenly almost level 7, has the Urn of Shadows as well. So the ganking will be that much more effective since you will just start getting the charges. Yeah,
I should correct myself and say 4-for-2. Spirit Breaker going down early and was able to return to the fight with that charge. But either way, big win for DK. And as you mentioned, 2,400 gold now up on DreamyU, so isn't too far off the Relic, 1,400 away from that. Should have a fairly good Radiance timing, maybe something like 22 minutes is definitely measurable at this point. Move will rotate towards the top lane. God7 is there as well. Gonna get scouted out, however, is the entire lineup, mostly of Braveheart, and they get to deny off.
Oh man, the Illusion got the tower down to 1 HP.
Yeah, unfortunate piece of work there for DreamyU, but either way, 5-man group up from the top lane from Braveheart. They know that they just fought, but Naga Siren now has the sleep for DreamEU, and it looks like they'll just opt for a trade at this point. Rocket Flare gonna bring down the wave a little bit bottom. Will scout out the Spirit Breaker probably on the way through as well. And there are TPs from only 3 members of DK here, so it doesn't look like they will look to defend their safe lane tier 1. They're trying to bring down 2 tier 1 simultaneously, but they may not be able to bring down either. Glyph was already used mid lane, and there are mass TPs in. Hook in onto Cold Snap here. He's got him isolated in the cogs. DreamEU is going to pop the song, however. And it looks like they will just extricate themselves from danger here. Cold Snap going to walk away completely. Hook is on cooldown. Carrot not going to be quite fast enough. Even with this haste, he may get a static link off, but he does have drums as well. I'm not sure if they can bring him down without any disable. Viper Strike out onto Carrot, but Ice Path not going to land there onto Cold Snap. And 9-1 trying to wrap around on the Viper, but he's already back to safety. So either way, nice song there in the mid lane. Not sure who got the last hit on that tower. It looks like Viper was able to grab it up for Cold Snap there. So a little bit of a win for DK.
Yeah, I mean, just still kind of a shame that the tier 1 tower top lane got denied. I mean, Naga Siren would have like a couple extra 100 gold now.
Yeah.
Still up to 3k, not doing too bad at all. I mean, really good stuff coming out. Really didn't expect her to do that well, to be honest. And also just because she hasn't been like 100% AFK farming, also joining one of the fights.
Yeah.
Now going for the active push as well, something you don't see most Naga Sirens do. So I guess Booster Trials help her out in that way. But still, Song of Siren on cooldown for another 2 minutes almost. Just level 1 song, such a huge cooldown. Although it's level 2 for the next use. And CTY, he's so ready to just epicenter somebody. Although the last epicenter we saw of him, level 1 epicenter, it really barely scratched Braveheart.
Yeah, they do have a fairly tanky lineup with the Razor. Jakiro, one of the more tanky int heroes. They got the Mech on the Shadow Fiend, Clockwork, and Ogre, of course, very tanky innately. So they will be hard-pressed to burst them down with just something like an Epicenter. No Earth Splitter quite yet skilled from XBG at level 9. He's got 4 levels in both the Spirit and Natural Order, and the 1 point in Echo Stomp for the value there. Carrot, however, not farming extremely well on this Razor, is quite slightly above Cold Snap. But Cold Snap's got the mech for his team. He's only got drums on this Razor thus far. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Spirit Raker going to find a kill onto God7, but will trade his life over to 9-1. So still a nice kill for that Spirit Breaker, who was doing pretty poorly. And he will get a little bit of a boost from that, up the net worth chart to 2nd over the Jakiro.
Yeah, they just had a really nice aggressive water. Charge was activated. Sand King came in with the Burrow Strike as well to help out a little bit. Although Sand King, he got like, what, a sub 8-minute blink there. Now only has Tranquil Boots after that. Although KDA wise, 2, 1, and 5 doesn't look that bad. Really just would have expected the Sand King to maybe have more of an impact all in all. I mean, it's still going fine for them, for DK overall, but there's a charge coming for Shadow Fiend as well. He's not going to get CTY. Shadow Race is just a little bit too late. Was hesitant there. But just look at the graphs. Braveheart used to have a lead now. 1500 for DK. XP, well, has always been in their favor almost, but it's a pretty huge lead for them.
Yeah, I mean, Braveheart's been balling up a lot as 5, and that's definitely hindered their ability to generate an XP lead. Generally, with an Naga Siren, you expect to have a net worth lead, but not quite an experience lead, as she does farm well. But we'll see a charge towards the top lane from Black Sea, and just a little bit of a Ross out in the mid lane from the Illusions. DreamEU doing very well, has picked up the Relic, and is well on her way to that recipe for Radiance. So still going to be a very good timing, despite going for those Boots of Travel first for DreamEU.
Yeah, it's really good for them. And actually, I guess I kind of made a small mistake, CTY. That's how we forced that finish. But there's the hook shot onto him. Multicast to follow as well. Ignited up into the Ice Trap. He comes from the Power Cox pushback. But with the Sandstorm Burrow Strike, he might even be able to escape. Are you freaking kidding me? About 9 HP remaining. And Sand King does actually survive. They did lose the Elder Titan though. But they really should have gotten 2 there.
Yeah, but a very nice Echo Stomp from the Elder Titan, actually saving the Sand King's life there, using the Sandstorm to disjoint even the max level Rocket, not quite enough to bring him down. It looks like they will sack this T2, however, so they do find the Elder Titan and the T2, and using the strength of their lineup early game is Braveheart Beer, but DreamEU continuing to farm and does now have that Radiance up 20 minutes in, despite having Boots of Travel and Aquila before that, so excellent timing for DreamEU here.
And it most certainly is, and it's really scary if you're Braveheart as well, just to have an Naga Siren being this farmed. Although the Shadow Fiend is somewhat ahead as well. I mean, that's usually what Shadow Fiends do. They just flash farm, they get so far ahead. so that the enemy team doesn't really have a counter to that early damage. I mean, you get 72 points of random damage just from the Necromancer. It's... you just cannot really deal with that early on. They are grouped up and they're gonna find the XPGO. Poor Elder Titan.
Yeah, just completely blown up. He's gonna go as he walks up to the high ground here, and very nice clean pick off. They will mech up from the side of Braveheart. They can go towards Roshan if they feel it necessary. We will see CTY ping that out as well. Pretty good team fight from DK. They got the Song of the Siren as well as the Epicenter here, so not sure if they're willing to do that. Perhaps they just look to push high ground instead, but with this Elder Titan's res timer being as low as it is, I'm not sure that they can go high ground here into the Song of the Siren Epicenter.
Well, it's most certainly one of the scariest things to do, just going up against Epicenters. I guess just Chronospheres or Ravages maybe a little bit more so, but Epicenter definitely up there, especially if it's a level 2 Epicenter tanking. Has gotten the level 11, which is really good for you. I mean, level 1 Epicenter, it can be strong, but usually we would want to have more of a Trimiu coming in for the just wrap around maybe, or is it just creep skipping?
Yeah, he was, and actually you saw the Radiance burn there do quite a bit of work. Rocket Flare is going to go out mid lane to push down this wave a bit, which is amassing towards their tier 2. And yeah, speaking of levels, CTY sitting on level 11 is actually ahead of the Clockwork from the off lane. So God7 trying to rotate around a lot, sitting in that 5-man, has lost quite a bit of experience and is below the Elder Titan as well. Ice Pass out however, onto Dreamy U. He's going to have to pop the Song of the Siren and doesn't have enough mana for his Boots of Travel. Will try to rotate away. He's going to get scouted by a Rocket Flare. They know exactly where his nice hook from God7. He'll bring down Dreamy U there. So not a huge loss in the sense that he already picked up the Radiance, but a very high priority kill for God7. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they do bring down Carrot's Razor, so still finding trades is DK with the rest of their squad, and hashtag space created for Dreamy U.
Oh, most certainly. So, I mean, it's a little bit sad that it didn't have enough mana, so maybe slight miscalculations there or something, but he's still up to 1.8k gold. And what's his next item even? Is he just Yasha like usual in Nagaras, or casual vitality booster? Like, what's the next item choice?
They don't have a lot of illusion clear, so I really do like, I mean, they do have the Shadow Rays, so that's not bad at all, but Ignite, not the best. Rocket Flare, not bad at all, so yeah, maybe Manta isn't the best here on second thought, but always pretty effective, does give the extra MS. Dreamy U has been doing quite a bit of split pushing, only really joined in on that one engagement mid, so I still do expect the Manta here. She does pick up the Blade of Alacrity there, and probably will continue to build into that, at least casual Yasha for now. Black Sea has found his treads, so is recovering fairly nicely above both the supports of the side of Braveheart. 9-1 fairly poor, has picked up an Ogre Axe, presumably on the way to his Ags, but not sure why he wouldn't have picked up a point booster instead. Either way, I guess looking to tank up a bit. Maybe is going for a BKB, but I don't really expect that from an Ogre. So interesting there. Radiance pushing out the wave bottom for Dreamy U. Is farming the enemy jungle. Rocket Flare is going to scout out Roche here and ping out Black Sea as well on the way through. But things going to stagnate. 23 minutes in. Your scores 11-9 in favor of Braveheart, but metrics well in the favor of DK in terms of experience. And gold is about an equilibrium. Charge top lane from Black Z. He's going to join over with CTY here, but there are TPs in from many. Fire Blast going to go out from 9-1 onto Black Z. Macropyre is a little bit short. Ice Path is going to land. He's going to get forced back by the Sand King. Hook is going to whiff. Nice dodge to the left. Charge available in 1 second. Will he be able to get it off? He does. And Black Z should be able to rotate out just fine here. He will catch Carrot on the way through. Will the Plasma Field be there? It will not. He doesn't get up to the high ground in time. And the Rocket Flare not going to scout him there. So unfortunately, Black Z will be able to get away. And actually does.
Yeah, he's going for a Shadow Blade as well by the looks of it. Has picked up the Claymore for it, so I guess on a Spirit Breaker it's not that bad. When an enemy is just Spirit Breaker charging at you, it's pretty damn scary just because you don't know it's even coming. But one thing, just the supports of Braveheart being more underfarmed than those of DK, it's such a surprise. I mean, they've destroyed 5 outer towers. How the hell can the supports have less farm than DKs? I mean, I understand the Sand King, yes, but the Spirit Breaker?
Yeah, that is certainly a worry here, and I guess you see the effects of balling up from this lineup and not getting just enough done. Like you said, they took down pretty much all the outer tier towers as the Ice Path does land on Black Sea mid. He's going to charge towards another lane and should be just fine, but they really have hindered their ability to get gold and utilize the entire map. And that's something DK has been doing. CTY as well as DreamyU farming up the jungle. Black Sea charging around from lane to lane. They will pop the Aghanim's Eye of the Storm here. Glyph is going to be baited out. Cog's going to be a zoning one, but Viper Strike out onto God7 will take him down pretty low, and he's looking to hook back out of the base. Nice song to cancel that, however. And the Earth Splitter is going to land on many too. Burrow Strike on 2 as well. Epicenter is there. They'll bring down the Jakiro quickly. God7 ticking down in the Cogs. He'll be next to fall. Requiem of Souls not going to do quite enough work. BKB popped by the Shadow Fiend here. CTY chasing down the Ogre. One last Burrow Strike. Double kill for the Sand King. Charge forward onto Braveheart. CTY is there with the blink as well. Burrow Strike available in 4 seconds. And Braveheart going to get riptided up. He's not going to be able to right click down anyone. Actually, the Death Requiem does bring down the Spirit Breaker, but 5 for 1 going the way of DK. Beautiful Song of the Siren into Earth Splitter and Epicenter from DK, and canceling the hook out from God7 there. And now they will go perhaps towards Roshan with that engagement.
Yeah, I guess Braveheart, the positive is they brought the tier 3 down, so that's something for them. I mean, just give the lane a little bit of momentum, and somebody of DK is gonna have to go back later on. But it's just such a huge win, and unfortunately they don't have quite what it takes to take Roshan as well after this. But they're not gonna overcommit and just kind of lose everything that they got from that one fight now. But like I said, the setup, it was absolutely brilliant. And CTY suddenly also up to 3.3k gold on the Sand King, level 15 as well. That's just some crazy support farm. And what's even the next item? Do you actually go for like an Aghanim's to build, maybe even straight into Sheep Stick, Shiva's card? Like, what's the choice?
Ags or Shivas wouldn't be bad. Usually you see a Veil, but there's not too much magic damage elsewhere. They do bring down Cold Snap in the top lane. Meanwhile, he's going to buy back instantly to stave off this high ground push here, but they will rotate in the Shadow Fiend as well and look to group up as 5, so perhaps a little bit worried about their timing window as DreamyU is farming very well. Stomp is going to land on a couple here. Zoning Ice Path is there as well as the Cogs, and Snare going to come out from DreamyU. Fire Blast is there to bring down some of the illusions, and it looks like they'll back them off for the time being. But yeah, as you mentioned, I think Shivas is pretty good here. Ags is very good as well. Veil not quite as good as it is for most lineups with the Sand King. Rocket Flare going to scout out 2 in the base here. DreamyU perhaps looking to cut the wave pretty deep as he rotates into the jungle. He can't even bring down this tier 1 as well. Glyph is available, however, for the side of Braveheart, and they will look to amass towards this high ground here as the Raxes are exposed. They do have this level 4 Liquid Fire. Stomp is going to land on move, however. There's the Viper Strike as well. He's going to get mech'd up, and he's going to tick very low with the Epicenter there. CTY not getting it quite off. The Earth Splitter will finish off the Jakiro, however. And the Eye of the Storm looking to take down this melee Rax here. Cold Snap in the front lines. DreamyU rotating in from the backside. Will he be able to bring down anyone and flank them? There is a charge out onto the Shadow Fiend. Requiem completely going to whiff. And in the meantime, Melee Rax is going to be brought down by Carrot. Fire Blast out onto Cold Snap. Charge in onto the Shadow Fiend, however. They'll bring him down. Next to fall is God7, but he does get the Cogs off for now. And Carrot, way overextended, is going to fall on the back of the base. Blink forward, force forward from CTY, looking to find the Clockwork here. And it doesn't look like he'll be able to do so as God7 does rotate in, but he's going to let his position be known with a Rocket Flare there. And the Ancestral Spirit as well as the Image is going to scout out God7. He doesn't have a TP here. Burrow Strike from CTY is there. One more right click. Blade Mail not going to kill off the Sand King. And again, another nice engagement on the high ground for DK. They do get the melee racks for the side of Braveheart, but not really worth losing your entire lineup there.
They wouldn't have even gotten that had the Rocket Flare not stopped the Blink Dagger of the Sand King. I mean, he was channeling the Epicenter at the right side in the trees, but the Rocket Flare landed on him just as the Epicenter was just being channeled, so there was no Blink Dagger to follow. So he tried to run into it, thought no point even to just Burrow Strike, since the Epicenter already had ended by that time. So a little bit unfortunate there. Also, Noxar not being there immediately hurt them a little bit, but they all make it out. Viper once again just such a clutch escape with like 50 HP, maybe a little bit less. Move, gets caught upon mid lane, Burrow Strike to follow. The Greater Bash was already used. They still have the Nether Strike, but the mech will keep them alive. So, slight overextension. Oh god, CTY, he's gonna get caught as well, but he has a BKB of his own now. Maybe gonna be safe, although 4-step on cooldown. Blink, he's gonna get out.
Wow, BKB for the Sand King, so interesting choice from him there. Almost level 16, does burrow through Carrot here, and will be able to blink and force the safety if need be. Also, lane's being pushed out by DreamyU in the meantime, and will push down this tier 1 in the safe lane. and get a nice little bounty of gold there. Manta, full Manta picked up for Dreamy U now, as we mentioned earlier. And CTY actually going to pick off move in the back lines. Unfortunately, I did miss that one, but either way, another kill for this Sand King. And with the Blink and the Force and the Burrow, and of course the Sandstorm to disjoint things, feeling very survivable is CTY here.
And it's just pretty much more or less everything at the moment is going DK's way. Yes, they lost the 1 melee Rex, but with a Naga Siren on your team, it's not that big of a worry. If it was 2 lanes, I'd maybe be somewhat worried just because it's so hard to actually push out the lanes against Mega Creeps, or at least 2 lanes at once, even if you're a Naga.
Right.
Just because anybody else in DK isn't that far, but CTY wall runs into a Sentry Ward, gets the Burrow Strike, dodges the hookshot with that. That might be his saving grace. Blade Mail activated, he's still burning low to the urn, but limping his way to safety once again on the Sand King.
Yeah, just creating space for this Naga who's been farming everywhere. 1600 gold in addition to the Manta now for Dreamy U. Sitting on the top of the net worth chart. Shadow Fiend has picked up a Manta of his own. His BKB still sitting at 8 seconds, so still fairly survivable. But I'm not sure the right move from Braveheart is to retreat and try to farm their side of the map. The Naga does have quite a bit of a global presence with all of these illusions thus far, and has been able to push out most of the lanes towards the side of Braveheart. So perhaps they look to ball up again, or they wait for this BKB at least on the Razor.
So at this point in time, it's kind of, at least if you look at the net worth, it's Naga Siren versus the Shadow Fiend. I definitely, Shadow Blade, Black Sea, trying to snipe the courier, runs into tower range for a second. Ice Path randomly connects, although they still don't have proper vision. And he just charges himself away. Nope, the Yule Slipper cancels the charge. Oh god, he got a little bit too sneaky there and will pay the price for it. But I mean, I'd have to favor the Naga Siren still over the Shadow Fiend if it was just a straight up 1v1. But the Razor, I mean, it's not like it's farming great, but it's reasonable. And although Sand King with farm is pretty excellent, if you just get like mass BKBs, for example, might not be able to do anything as well. So if this really goes like super late, who would you just favor in that case?
Well, I mean, Cold Snap is picking up his Aghanims now. That does go through BKB to slow down the Shadow Fiend. They'll at least be able to kite him around despite him doing a lot of damage. And they still do have this sleep into Earth Splitter as well as Epicenter combo. So I really have to favor DK in this one. And CTY still being cheeky in the bot lane. Just annoying the Shadow Fiend here. Is going to get scouted out with a Rocket Flare. Does have 1400 gold in addition to this 9-second BKB Force and Blink. And we will see a smoke rotation, however, from Braveheart. But yeah, I'm going to have to favor DK just for the team fight in the late game. And the Clockwork still level 13. Doesn't have that level 3 hook quite yet. Smoke going to be popped by CTY on the high ground. He will be able to blink out. And smoke rotation warded. They will look to do some dewarding here. But no sentries, actually. So just going to put a nice observer ward there. But looks like it may have been pinged out from CTY.
Oh, mid lane, they get the kill onto Carrot, so the Razor is down. Like, see, they're gonna go for more. Some of the Siren comes out as God 7. He's so damn low, but they're gonna have to back off in the end anyway. Unless XPG wants to hang around, never mind. They are charging away into the Ogre Magi. Just another 2 clean kills, almost getting a 3rd as well. Things just aren't looking good, and they of course have the natural order from the Elder Titan as well to buff up their late game even more, or will buff them up already as it is. And I think that's like one of the reasons you don't see Clockwork that often. Just because if this goes to later stages, I mean, how much can even a farm Clockwork really do?
Yeah, he really needs to snowball very well. And even then, obviously doesn't add much push to your lineup. So being able to find objectives off that, he's not a big help in that sense. So yeah, Clockwork has definitely fallen off. But we haven't been able to see kind of a lot of those offlaners that look to disrupt the creep equilibrium and find pulls and live dangerously. It's a lot of stable offlaners lately, like the Tide and the Centaur and whatnot. Even Nyx has fallen off as well. Was one of those kind of Clockwork styles heroes. But yeah, Yule Scepter picked up here for the Elder Titan, so that's a nice pickup for XBG. He's got the Force Staff as well, 1200 gold in tow. Mid lane, charge is out onto God 7. We'll look to see if they actually go in here. He's going to get scouted out from the Shadow Fiend, and there's the hook from God 7 onto Black Z. Looks like he should fall here. Blade Mail activated as well, but he gets the Shadow Blade off, and there's actually no detection for him. And he will make it away just fine. They will look to go down mid lane, knowing that he is a little bit low here, but Reaver picked up on Dreamy U. And he can sell this hatchet and go for the Vit booster here, or perhaps save buyback, which is just available for him. He's going to need a little more gold for that if he does die.
I mean, Shadowblade, best item confirmed. Cold Snap gets slowed down, but pop the BKB and will be safe. Earth Splitter even used for this is Blackseed. They get the kill in the backlines. Epicenter used for Carrot. One more right click. They're gonna bring him down with this just Naga Siren Burn. And Jimmy, he's around. The multicast comes onto Illusions, but there's the Nether Strike onto the Shadow King. They get the kill. They're gonna go for God 7. They are just massacring Braveheart at this point. I mean, God 7, don't think there's any escape for him either. Clean 5-4-0.
Yeah, absolutely incredible engagement there for DK, and they're just rolling over them in this game too. Pretty much Braveheart playing into their hands here, pushing right up mid lane. They were split up there as the Jakiro was picked off in the back lines by the Spirit Breaker and the Naga Siren, and that Requiem did absolutely nothing as CTY had his BKB popped, and the rest of the lineup was able to rotate up to the high ground. So unfortunately this Shadow Fiend, despite being pretty much at parity with the Naga Siren most of the game, hasn't been quite as effective, and DreamyU able to push out a lot of the lanes, get back a lot of the towers that were taken early, and they just take these engagements and look to find objectives off them after. Heart fully picked up now by DreamyU.
I mean, DK, they haven't been pushing all that much themselves, but every single team fight that has happened for like, what, the last 20 minutes has been like a 5-4-0 or 4-4-1 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, so unfortunate circumstances for Braveheart here. They do have the BKB recipe on Carrot, but he's still 1400 from that Mithril Hammer, and maybe quite a ways off that. Not sure that it's going to be enough as well. They do have DreamyU just being a nuisance in this top lane. CTY once again in the mid lane, feeling pretty healthy with his gem on deck as well. Stomp is going to land on 9-1. Rocket Flare going to look to scout out the Sand King, not going to be successful in doing so. And everyone in this mid lane except for the Shadow Fiend, who is having to defend top lane. Jump forward, Burrow Strike, Epicenter. He's going to take down the two supports quickly, is CTY. He's going to look to TP out under the cover of his BKB. Will be successful in doing so. Earth Splitter going to land on God 7. Charge was cancelled by Black Sea, but they bring down the two supports with relative ease, and they will bring down the tier 3 in the top lane as well with these illusions from DreamyU. He's got his song at the ready and actually rotating towards the fountain, perhaps looking for God 7 here, but he will song and TP out, and they can perhaps look to take down this tier 2 mid lane in the meantime as he's created space there. And it looks like they will be able to do so. Glyph is still available, however. Rocket Flare going to fly out mid lane. XPG going to try and drop the wave with a stomp. Is going to be just short of doing so. And Carrot will be able to back them off for the time being. CTY once again is on the high ground, though, with the blink at the ready. And actually looking for the Shadow Fiend here. He does actually just place a very nice deep Observer Ward as he forces up to the high ground. Rocket not going to be there to scout him, but the Shadow Fiend will run into him. And he'll be able to blink away. Actually, he gets the Burrow Strike off. Stomp is a little bit over range from the Elder Titan, and they won't be able to continue on this Shadow Fiend, but a lot of space created and some nice deep vision now for DK.
I have to say I learned something from this game, that with the Song of the Siren, APGs come to life. I'm not too sure if you noticed it, but the Batrider APG actually started moving in the Radiant base when Song of the Siren was activated. I was like, what? No! It's like from horror movies like gargoyles just come to life or something.
It's like reverse polarity there. Sleeps everyone else, and everything that was currently sleeping comes to life. So maybe if it synergizes with the Elder Titan Stomp as well, if you put someone to sleep and then sleep them again, they wake up. Who knows? Either way. Top lane, Raindrax almost dead here. Glyph completely baited out, and DreamyU looking to bring this down will be successful in doing so. Has the song once again. This level 3, only 60-second cooldown. Easy ratting from DreamyU here. They should maybe be able to bring down this tier 2 here, but XPG not going to do so. Actually, DreamyU just going to rotate out. Did have his TP cancel there, but jump in, Burrow Strike. The Jakiro going to drop quickly. God 7 next to fall. They're going to be able to mech up and bring down DreamyU, but the Earth Splitter will finish off the clockwork, and Braveheart is being charged here by Black Sea, but force forward. Burrow Strike from CTY. Charge is going to convert over to the Shadow Fiend as well. There's the Nether Strike. The Stomp is there as well. He does pop the BKB. A few more right clicks he should drop, however, and he is channeling the Requiem. One more right click, though, from CTY will bring him down. Sandstorm is there as well. Yule Scepter up from the Elder Titan defensively. Triple kill for CTY, and with the move speed from the Spirit, they will be able to back off the ET. They'll bring down the Razor as well. Ultra kill for this Sand King. And who needs a Naga Siren? Carry SK, new meta. 3,400 gold in addition to the plate mail. We'll be able to pick up a full Shivas here on the Sand King, as you mentioned earlier, and they'll bring down the lane of Rax as well.
It doesn't feel like the Spirit Breaker and Sand King started off as supports. Both of them just going absolute man mode against the enemy cores. Even though Spirit Breaker's network just cannot really be compared at all, like not in the slightest to the Shadow Fiend. It just still went man mode, got a few bashes, got another strike win as well. Did a lot of damage there, to be honest. Oh, the hookshot does land on the gold snap. Even then it might not be a kill. He's going to get Echo Stomped up, so slow down to Oblivion anyway. That's just another kill, and I mean DK, if they don't win this game, then I don't know, it's just kind of impossible for them to lose.
Yeah, it looks like the GG pretty much imminent here. Yule's up onto move. Stomp, not quite there. But the charge forward onto this Jakiro, he will defensively Yules. And the Shadow Fiend will be there to dissuade the Spirit Breaker, who will Shadow Blade away. But meantime, Tier 2 goes down in the mid lane. They will look to find this next lane of Rax. Ice Path is going to land. Jump forward. Burrow Strike, though, from CTY. He's going to force back as well. Break the Static Link. Viper Strike out onto Carrot. And there's the Stomp as well. He's going to have to force the BKB out here, but Nether Toxin doing work again against him. He's going to have to back towards the base. Meanwhile, CTY picks off the Jakiro and charge out onto the Shadow Fiend, but GG is called. 41 minutes in, just short of the game 1 time of around 45 minutes. DK take game 2 and the series here. 2-zip, guys. Any final thoughts on the game, Couchor?
Man, CTY, a freaking beast.
Yeah,
what was he, 14-1 and 15 in the end? Just beautiful support work, man. He just set up so many team fights as well with the epicenters.
Yeah, that sub 8 minute Blink Dagger, we didn't see it used to effect immediately, but almost right thereafter in the mid game was very, very effective. 12 fantasy points, 12.4 for CTY's Sand King, and everyone else pretty underwhelming from Braveheart, so unfortunately for them, just some methodical gameplay from DK. I believe Braveheart will have another best of 2 coming up next, up against Speed Gaming, so they will be able to look to redeem themselves. But for now, thank you for joining us, guys. We'll be back very soon with the next series. I'm mrpdota, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster. Joined by me is Couchor, and you can find him over on Twitter at Couchor, me at mrp_dota. This is HeflaTV. Thanks for joining, guys. Be back soon with the next series.